Afternoon, James.
How's it? How you guys doing? Welcome,
How we
everybody.
welcome. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Are you good?
Put on your cameras. I want to see who everybody is. There we go. How you, Chris? You well?
No, I'm good. I just
Excellent.
wanted to excuse myself because I'm busy with something, and this is an advisor session, so I'm just busy with something.
All
So
right.
yeah, so just maybe just introducing myself, then I'll be out.
All right. Well, your advisors will be schooling you after this.
Yeah,
You'll become pupil.
yeah, they'll become expert.
And indeed.
Yeah.
Is Virgil attending? You know.
I know Virgil is also caught up. Virgil was caught up with interviews as well. But he did say that this is actually an advisor session, so advisors would need to take the initiative. So I know he just maybe need to come in terms of support, but he did mention that now but right now I know he's busy with some interviews.
I just want to see. Okay, this kind of looks like pretty much everyone who said they were coming is here, I think.
What we're missing? I'll check who's missing. A Tolofelo it's not here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'll check who's missing. I'll just check who's missing, then I'll engage with them.
All right. So when I spoke to Virgil, I was just wondering, and maybe you'll know, because there are a few more people on the list that I sent invitations to that he asked me that haven't accepted. So I assume who is here, and who isn't.
Yes, who's here is here today, and then if they join more, but probably in the next few sessions, the other session we just have to engage with the sales managers in question, so that they can sort of like know what's happening.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All
Okay,
right. Well,
cool.
this will be it. So what do we got? 2, 4, 6. Okay. Cool. 7 of us. That's me. And you can go do interviews. All right, Chris. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Okay, no, thank you very much. But I'll just remind the guys on our group WhatsApp to say they must not forget to join your session.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you, man. Chat to you later. All right. Cheers. Bye. All right, guys. Well, welcome. There's going to be some exciting stuff for all of you. Put cameras on. This is a camera on session. This is not hide behind some stuff. All of you guys are, so that I can get to know names and faces. And there we go. There we go. Everybody's up. So just very quickly, I know some of you just sort of run through and just pop into the well, let me just go through. I'll go through from top. I'll just look on the side. So Gert, tell me just quickly about yourself, how long you've been in the game and what you're hoping to learn.
Sorry, how long I'm in the game
and what you would love to learn on these sessions.
Look, I've been in this industry since 2002, and so I had a bit of a different route than the normal retail broking. So I was just actually invited by one of the people here just to attend and to see what this is all about. Maybe it can benefit. So I'm open to learning.
All right. Probably quite a lot has changed because you very you're not, but you grew up old school, so you've probably built a nice practice in terms of some of that. This is going to be good for you. This will be very interesting just to sort of see how things have changed as stack subsequent to COVID. But welcome. Hopefully we'll show you some amazing things, which is great. Who's next on my list here? Lucas. I don't know, is that a ceiling? Lucas, are you there? We think Lucas is there, we're not sure. Kitamitsi, you go first. Let's wait for him to get off the ceiling.
All right. Afternoon, James. Afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I've been in the game for just over 2 years, and I'm hoping to learn how to. Well, actually, I'm hoping to learn like what my ideal client is and how I can connect with more of them. And yeah, just also how to connect with more people in general. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, you're definitely in the right place. In fact, today's session is going to show you how to find the right people, which is going to be kind of cool. Who's next? Masana.
Hi, everybody. So
Hello.
for me as well, it's just hello. Yes. So I was on the previous session as well, but it just inspired me to join the session again because I would like to expand my client base as well and to connect with the right people in terms of my clients and the type of clients that I would want to have within my business. Yeah.
So how long have you been in this?
I've been in this for 2 years, 7 months.
What's your background before this?
I was in finance. I was working for the bank. Yeah, I worked for the Blue Bank for a couple of years. I was in corporate and investment banking. Yeah, so I was in the banking space before this.
All right, cool. All right, that's perfect. Who is next? Hang on. Everything is changing now because I've got someone else that's popped on. Nkomoloi. Excuse the pronunciation. Put me right. How do I pronounce that? Nkomolo. Help me!
Yeah, no. I think when I was logging into Zui, it just took my username NK Moloi. It's Nkata Moloi,
Nkata,
but I
okay.
think it just said NK Moloi.
Okay, cool.
So I'm not used to Zoom, so still
Don't worry.
finding used to.
You will be soon. You will be soon.
Yeah, bigger. So yeah, no, with me, I am hoping to see how I can make or how can my LinkedIn profile work? Because I've had the profile of LinkedIn for quite some time now, but I'm not getting that feed. You know, I'm not getting those
Yeah.
clients. Well, I get something that there's leads that comes through, yeah?
Yeah.
But when you send, like when you inbox, when you accept the lead, you say I can be able to help you, and the client does not respond. So I just want to see as to how am I, because I used to have that when I had premium and then I felt like it's not working for me. So I
Okay.
left it. So I was getting those leads when I was on premium. But yeah, I'm looking to see what can I do.
All right. And what was your background before this?
Well, before this, I was like my son, I was in banking also.
I was banking. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Tabi Singh?
Good morning. No, afternoon. So I joined with my phone. My laptop is giving me issues in there.
Oh, shame.
So
Okay.
please excuse my camera being off. So I was in last week's session, but then for me to join again this week and continue with this session, it's for me to be able to get clients through social media. I do tend to post social media, but I don't get enough attraction or rather feedback from the clients. So I'm just hoping to extend my client base on social media and also be able to probably close business in the first meeting.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. How do I pronounce that? Tisi Tetso. Help again. Tisetso? Yes, no, maybe. Gone to the toilet. Lucas, now that you've got off the ceiling, tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, James. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how's it?
No, I'm good. The same problem as Nkata, yeah. I was struggling to unmute.
Cool. So how long you been in the
Yeah.
game?
Financial planning, been over 2 years now. Yeah, going for 3 years, in May.
And what did you do before this?
Before I was working at a law firm, and after that, then I was doing civil work because I did building science as well in university. So I was doing some pipelining, construction, and all those stuff under a company that family company.
Okay, cool, got it. Tisetso, what about you?
It's decent. So
Tisetso, calling Tisetso.
Oh, that was Tisetso speaking just now.
Sorry, I thought that was Lucas. Lucas. Ah, you're confusing me. Lucas, come back. All right. Hopefully he's there. You know, it sounds like there might be some issues. All right. Okay. Well, let's see. Joining as well. Ooh. Someone is echoing. Gert?
Someone is echoing. Gert?
Yes, it's me. I'm trying this. Yes, it's me. I'm trying this. Yes.
Yeah. As I say, you have to turn one of those things off. Right, there we go. Okay. Okay. Let's see how we go. Let me dive into to today. So this is going to be really interesting session for you guys, and I don't know how long this is going to be, right? Because I'm going to adapt this on the fly for you guys. It's quite an interesting process. So other than Gert, the rest of you tend to be in the same space, right? So we'll put a lot of emphasis on that, and then where there's different, I'll emphasize that for Gert's benefit. But it's actually quite cool because we're all in a more or less a similar space. So this gives you guys a chance to learn, and you guys should actually network quite a lot with each other in this process. You'll find that to be quite beneficial, because obviously we want to pick up the big wins. So the more that you work together, the better. And you'll see in this process, and I'll just address the elephant potentially in the room right up front. I really want to encourage you guys to do that, because you actually will not be competing with each other, even though technically you are. And it'll become fairly clear even after today's session. And the reason for that is because when we create your profiles and we position you in it, and we go through that whole process, what you'll see is that there's a lot of personal stuff that's going to go into that. So each one of you will have a different profile, a different story. There'll be a different resonance. You'll have a different type of ideal client. So even though technically you're all going to be using the same system, right? There's 14 million people on LinkedIn in South Africa, right? There's a lot of fish in the sea. That's what I'm saying to you. So I want to encourage you to actually share with one another, because the more that you do that, the better it is. So if there's a win, we share the win in the group, and we see what actually works, as opposed to doing stuff in isolation. And so typically when we've done this before, I always find it takes a few sessions for you guys to get relaxed and to know each other. But it sounds like you guys are all relatively close. So I just want to encourage you, just do that from the get-go. Right? It's going to be really easy. So we've got, and if I just double check here, we've got the 2 sessions, right? We've got this session, and we've booked it for 3 hours. I don't know that it'll be 3, because I'm going to try to not bite off more than we can chew, because I just want you to move at a pace that actually works, because you guys are going to work quite hard. Like, I'm going to give you some serious homework to do today, where it's going to stretch you a little bit, where you're going to think about it, but it's going to be great in terms of applying, again, your personal situation to what you're doing. But you'll see as we go through this how valuable that is. And a lot of what I'm doing in the first few sessions anyway is I'm teaching a little bit about marketing as well, and a little bit about how to think about this stuff. So the problem we all have, right? And a lot of you have come through in your own way, in your own professional capacity, but it really doesn't matter if you're an accountant or a lawyer or a financial advisor. If you think about the process that it takes to qualify, and even when you join Momentum, right? What did they teach you? What did you do for induction? They taught you all about the products and the laws and the regulations and everything, right? Even the CPD that we have afterwards, what's that all about? Again, the CPD is, again, it's all about technical proficiency. So we don't learn about things like marketing and sales and that type of thing. Marketing and sales. Right? So that becomes a real issue, and it's not something that's obvious. So when you all these comments that Gert, sorry man, I'm just going to mute you. Was your let me just mute Gert there. Yeah. It becomes such a problem. All those questions that you guys were asking and those observations you were making when I said, what do you want to get out of it? I promise you a lot of that just comes down because you don't know the fundamentals of marketing. And neither should you, right? Because if you wanted to know the fundamentals of marketing, you'd have studied marketing. As it happens, you're financial advisors. But the problem that you have is you need some of that knowledge to become really good marketers, which you have to be because you're running your own businesses. That's essentially what all of you are doing. And so that's the game plan here, is we're going to get you your levels up. And don't worry about you can't be feeling stupid because you think, oh, I don't know stuff. No, there's none of that. But for a lot of you guys, this is completely new. And I'll tell you my story in just a minute, and then you'll see there's a lot more that that goes into this before we dive into actually what's going on. So we've got the Thursday sessions, which we booked, and then the following week. So starting next week, all right. Let me just see who said yes. We've got Tuesday at 4 o'clock. So Tuesday at 4 o'clock is it looks like most of you have accepted as well. Tuesday at 4 o'clock is the Q&A, right? I say Q&A, but actually let's call it feedback. I promise you will learn more. Oddly enough, particularly the later we get into this, you will learn more in that session than you will in this one. Here's why, right? Because this is a session where I've got to dump stuff on you. Then you guys are going to go away, and then you're going to try to apply what I've taught you. Then when we come back on the Tuesday session, that's where it gets real, right? This is where it's practical. And like if you're doing something, you're saying, geez, I'm sending these messages, Oaks are connecting, but they're not talking to me. Well, there's a problem with the message. That's where we nail all that stuff. So you will, and also what happens is somebody asks a question, and then the answer is broader than you think. So a lot of practical stuff that I might not have been thinking, oh, I'm going to put this in the course, that's going to come through there. So when you look at this, I want you to take this seriously. Like so make sure you hit all the sessions, right? The Thursday session, the Tuesday session, and then just find the time to do the homework in between. The first couple of sessions are more heavy in terms of homework. It gets much easier after that, but your first two are going to be hectic. There's some stuff to do there, as you'll see. Just do it. I promise you, it'll change your business. And it'll probably be the first time anybody's ever shown you this, and that you've really sat down and applied your mind and yourself to the business. All right, so that's kind of basic stuff. What I must do, I'm going to upload quickly into the chat for you a document. 1 second. Okay. You guys might want to download this. It's just a PDF. That's the slides of today. It's not homework and stuff just yet. I will give that to you, but slides for today, and we'll sort of run through everything. So I'll give you the slides periodically. Also, I'll create somewhere where I put all this information. So if you want to go back and watch any of these sessions being recorded, I'll have that info for you to do. So you're welcome, obviously, at any stage if you missed something or you want clarification. what I'll probably do is stick it onto YouTube so it's easy to access. Just give you the links for that. And then you can scroll and do whatever you want, which is kind of cool. Okay, so download that. That should be everything for today. So now just give me a second. Yeah, let's get into it. So I'm going to share a screen with you. Listen, you guys need to if you want to take a break, because I'm a machine, like I don't know. Sometimes I just keep going. You must just give me a shout, and I'll try to be conscious of that, and we'll take like periodic breaks, particularly if we go quite long, right? Because there'll be a lot that I'm trying to tell you. Also, I will sort of stop kind of at the end of each sort of subsection, and I'll ask if you've got any questions, right? So don't if you can, right, try not to interrupt me while I'm doing the sessions, although like no one's going to lose any sleep over it if you do, but try not to do that, because I will break periodically, and then we can run through any questions that you've got, because it's also kind of good. Even though we've got a Q&A session, that Q&A session is going to be very practical based on what you did. This is the understanding of what you've got to do. So feel free to ask as many questions as you need. That's the whole point. So this is what this is all about. At the end of this, depending on how much of this you put into place, realistically, all right, you should be able to generate anywhere from 2 to 5, and sometimes even more. Some of you will do better than others. It's just the bell curve. That's how it kind of works. But 2 to 5 new leads every week just from LinkedIn, which should, for all of you, make a very significant difference to what it is you're doing. And one of the best parts about this is like it's all here. You don't have to, go knocking on doors and cold calling. Everything is here. It's really, really easy to find. So this is what we're going to do today. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the game plan. Then I'm going to talk to you about ideal client theory, which is something that you might not be aware of, but everybody says, pick an ideal client. Who's your client? And most of us can't answer that for the reasons I gave you earlier. And then we're going to spend some time picking our niche, right? And this is going to be time really, really well spent, as you'll see. So let's talk a little bit about the game plan. So this is what the system looks like. Most of you were there last session, so you remember this. For those of you that weren't, let me do a quick recap, because this is what we're going to build. Okay, this is what we want to do. So there's only 3 steps in the system. The first step is all about preparation. The first half of what we do is this. This is the most difficult. I'm not saying it's difficult. I'm saying it's the most difficult of everything. It's the most challenging, because you've got to think a little bit and apply some principles. And typically it takes the longest. Okay. Once you've got through this, it's easy. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to identify who your ideal client is. I'm going to call it your niche. And there's various definitions, and I'll give you the definition later. But it's kind of it's like know who you want to speak to. That's the first thing. And it makes a lot of sense. So a lot of you typically, and this is typical of all service providers. I'm not like picking on you individually, but the truth is, you guys, every single one of you, has the ability to sell financial services products, whichever ones they happen to be, to anyone. That's the reality. Okay. The truth is, that's not what you should do. Right. So when you don't know what you're doing and you just in that mindset of I'll take anybody, yeah, that's cool. But you guys are now putting yourselves in a position where you can create a system. You get to actually determine what it is that you want. So we can be very, very specific in terms of who we want to find. And we'll find as we go through this, actually, the more specific you are, the easier this is, right? It's actually much easier to deal with a small group of people. So my target market is accountants and financial advisors, right? I don't really care about dealing with lawyers and engineers and everybody else. And do I have to? No. As you will see just now, there's more than enough accountants and financial advisors on LinkedIn. It's just even in South Africa, I don't even have to go outside of South Africa, right? Then I can deal with in a lifetime. So the first thing is really dialing in who this person is. That's what today is all about. Next week, we're going to talk about a little bit about message, right? And these two are kind of interlinked. It's a little chicken and egg. So when we're done with the second session, it'll all sort of gel. But this is going to be more about looking more specifically at what it is that you're selling and showing you how to present that to people, right? On LinkedIn. I'm not talking about when you get face-to-face, but you've got to earn the right to get face-to-face. And so there's some stuff we've got to do, and it's going to affect the way that you position yourself and the way you write messages and that. So we're going to talk a lot about this and how to write the right message. Then once we've done this, this is the strategic stuff. This is the thinking stuff. After this, then we move into actually taking that information and building a profile that's very specific for this group of people that we're wanting to speak to. Now the magic happens, right? Because every week now we move into the next piece. So once we've done the foundational stuff, now you get into system and process, right? So all of you have got a system, whatever it is, currently to generate clients. For a lot of you, it's a referral system. So the system goes like, okay, I did some good work for client X. I'm going to phone up client X and ask them for some referrals. Then they give me referrals. I'm then going to phone the referees. I'm going to get onto a Zoom meeting. I'm going to have a meeting with them. If I can help them, I'm going to send them a proposal. Send a follow-up meeting or do the F&A, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm going to close them, right? That might be your system, okay? I'm going to show you the LinkedIn system in terms of how to do that. So I want to get you to the point where you've got enough people to speak to. So first part is simple, right? We go onto LinkedIn or Sales Navigator, which we'll talk about this now, and we use the filters to the best of our ability to find these people that we've identified. So all the hard work that we do today, we're going to come up with something. Then we're going to go and use LinkedIn, and we'll show you how to use it powerfully to find these people, right? Because remember, you've built a profile specifically for them. So when we search and we reach out to people, it's only these people we want to speak to. Right? We're not interested in anybody else, just those guys. And then we're going to send a connection request. So currently, LinkedIn lets you send 100 connection requests per week. Okay, so think about that. You've got 100 targeted people per week that you've built a profile for, and you send them a connection request. What happens when somebody sends you a connection request? What do? You say, who is this person that sent me a connection request? And you go look at the profile. Right, so if we've done all this work here well, right, and strategically this profile works for them, when they go and look at the profile, they say, that's exactly what I need, right? They think it's by accident. No, it's not. It's because we did all this hard work down here. A lot of them will start conversations with you based on your profile. Okay, I'll show you the numbers to this in just a minute. Then we get their email address. So when somebody connects with you and you are now first level connections, then and only then does LinkedIn give you access to their email address. But now what we can do is now we can email them and we can talk to them on LinkedIn at the same time. We find when we add email into the mix, that doubles and actually most times triples the amount of meetings we get from just LinkedIn. Okay? And the reason for that is timing, right? Timing is you send them a connection request, they look at it, they say, yes, I think this person is someone I should speak to. They go back, they think I'm going to speak to them on Monday. Monday comes along and they forget. So we know that they're there, right? We just don't know who they are. And this is where email is cool. So let's talk about the last step. The last step is follow, right? Now we're talking to them on LinkedIn and on email. If it's LinkedIn, it's easy, right? They're in your messages. You get the messages, you see what they are, you have a little bit of a chat backwards and forwards to people, and if you can help them, you say, hey, let's have a meeting. That's how hard it is to book meetings, guys. I promise you. That's it. That's how you book meetings. The easiest thing in the world. Then what do we do about these other guys that are there? We're going to speak to us on Monday. Well, this is now where automation comes in. So I've got a 9 email sequence, right? That goes out, I think it's 6 weeks. And I know it works because I book meetings with different people for each of those 9 emails. Because some people are already on the second email, some it takes 5 to get them off their asses, and some it's 9, right? So some people are going to talk to me on email and some are going to talk to me on LinkedIn. But it's the same process. It's like backwards and forwards, chat, chat, chat. Now, the cool thing about this, right, this system, is that a lot of times they will start the conversation with you. Why? Because you did the hard work, you chose them intentionally, you've got a profile that speaks to them. When you send them a connection request, they look at the profile And if they happen to need what you are selling right now, they will start a conversation. Say, oh, I see this, how about this? Or they'll start to ask you questions. And when that happens, then you move the conversation to, hey, why don't we have a quick chat? Chat can be like we're doing now online, or it can be coffee or meet you or whatever your modus operandi is. Okay, I'd encourage you to do it online. It's easier, it's more efficient, you get more done. And then what happens is when you actually get to step 9, right, they know exactly who you are because you chose them specifically. They've seen your profile. They've even had a chat to you. So when they get here, they're very open-minded. They're not there by accident. It's not the shit that a lot of you guys do now where you're trying to get a meeting at any cost. There's a referral, but you don't really know who it is. They don't know who you are, or you buy some leads or something. It's like, no. This person is your connection. They've seen your stuff and they have willingly agreed to this meeting. They know why they're there. This person is a hot lead, okay? As long as everything else aligns. So they like you, they trust you, they don't have a grudge against Momentum, they can afford it, timing is right, their wife says it's okay, all that shit that you need, right, to make a sale. As long as those circumstances are in place, you've actually got a very good chance of closing this person, or at least putting them in a pipeline to close them later, okay? That's the big picture of what we're doing. That's why it works. It's really effective. That being said, let me show you the numbers on this thing. So once you've got this first part done, right, and you start sending those connection requests, and the person gets the connection request and it says, who's Lucas? Let's go see. And they pop down and they look at the profile. Because the profile is working so hard for you, about 20% of the consultations that we get start just from a connection request, right? It's not the connection request that was amazing. It was the profile that was amazing and the thought process that went behind building it, because that person is very specific, okay? But 20% of the meetings you get are just for sending a connection request. That's pretty cool. Then we send a second message, right? Second message you will send anywhere from relatively immediately up to, let's say, a week later, right? The second message is more about thanking people for connecting, starting more to build the real relationship. Hey, thanks for connecting. You'll do a little bit of an introduction for yourself, and you'll say to people, hey, listen, if you need some help, I'm here. About 30 to 35, sometimes 40% of these, the second message leads to a consultation, right? Because now it's a second time, right? They've probably seen your profile for a second time. And this gets more people to reach out. Same process. The last 40 to 50% comes from email itself. Email probably worth a little bit more because a lot of people will see the email and come back here. Okay, so those are kind of the numbers, big picture, when we build this thing out. Okay, we'll see with this group how we progress. For now, I want to, let me just go. What we're going to do first step is to get you to 0.5. The reason that's the first crucial piece in this is because when you get to step 5, you've got a profile that works. You've done all the hard work and the hard thinking. You know how to find these people that you've targeted, and you've got messages that convert. A connection message and a thanks for connecting message that if you did nothing else other than that, you will sign clients and you will get meetings booked weekly. Right. So that's our first goal, right? Because that's something that's functional, it's usable, and we can get going. After that, then we reassess. Then we'll talk about email and automation and all the other stuff that gets to it. But I'm showing you what the vision is. Right? I need you guys to succeed. So I want every single one of you being amazing, working in the system, signing clients, because at the end of this, you're going to give me the most amazing testimonial the world's ever seen. And you're only going to give me that if you get the results, right? So hopefully you're as committed as I am to working through this and getting the results. So why does it work, right? It works. I'll explain this to you, but I'll run through it. It's because you do the hard work here, right? So you think about who the ideal client is, and you have, they call it message to market match, or market to message match. The message that you're creating, also known as your LinkedIn headline, is very specific to this person, right? Then we go ahead, we we connect with them. They say, who's this person? They look at the profile. They like that. They then either speak to you on LinkedIn or on email, backwards and forwards. And then obviously they get to the point where they're on the meeting with you and you have an opportunity to close them, right? So that is big picture, right? That's where we're going. Let me just pull this back quickly. Are there any questions that you guys have at this stage that you want to ask? Are you good? All right, cool. Let me stay here quickly. What I want to do before I dive in and get into the nitty-gritty is I want to just tell you a little bit about myself very quickly and kind of how I got here. I would have told a lot of you last time, but just for those of you that are new, you'll kind of remember that I chartered accountant, ran a very successful practice. We took a lot of pain. 2008. I always think of it as 2010 because that's where the shit hit the fan for me. But 2008 was the last recession. We lost a lot of key clients, right, due to that recession. And what obviously happened from there was I ended up not getting a salary for 8 months, and I literally had to walk away from a business I spent 10 years building. Because I'm an accountant, right? Myself and my partners, for all the reasons I told you earlier, we knew nothing about getting clients, even though we'd been in business forever and we had a great practice. And so I literally walked away. And when I did, I decided that I was going to actually study online marketing. And so that's exactly what I did. Studied online marketing for the next 2 years and spent probably 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, just learning about stuff. Spent ever. So I've got an amazing overall knowledge. And remember, this was a long time ago. This was 2011, 2012, 2013. So in those days, the internet wasn't quite as simple as it is today. At the end of that, I did kind of what you're doing is I got myself a coach because I said, like, okay, I've been doing this for 2 years. I'm not making any money. Obviously, I don't know what I'm doing. And took on a coach that taught me the basics, and the rest is history. I ended up writing a bunch of books, doing a lot of webinars and speaking to a lot of accountants and financial advisors. And that's really how I got into this. Started initially because my first book was on how to build a sales funnel. So I know all about sales funnels, and that was where we started. It was quite hard in the beginning because if you think pre-COVID, so Gert will tell you, if in his day, like you met face to face. There's none of this online bullshit. No. This was face to face. We'd shake hands, we'd play golf. That's how it happened. I was trying to explain to people, no, don't do that. Come online. It was a big mindset shift, right? But then the world has moved. Social media moved along. I told you guys about how I got into LinkedIn. Built a funnel for one of my clients. It was going well. He comes to me, he says, listen, I've got a problem. And he says, the funnel is okay, but I'm paying for a listing in a directory. That's not going well. They tell me people are landing on my page, but no one phones me. What's happening? We looked at that. We saw there were 2 links, one to this website, which was good. We know this. The other to the LinkedIn profile, which was poor. As soon as we fixed that, right, and this is a very significant piece of the story, by the way, because when we fixed the profile, suddenly his phone started to ring. And that was the realization for me. And I only realized it because of this guy, because it's not obvious, right? That if you have a poor LinkedIn profile, you are losing clients. And I'm telling you this is so. You can believe me or not, that's up to you. Because what happens, and you guys all know this because you do it all the time. In fact, be conscious of this. Next time you decide to research a potential prospect and you type their name into Google, 99% of the time their LinkedIn profile will be the first result that comes up. So will yours. And when they click on it, if your profile is poor, people look at it and they judge you. Oh, Tsetso. Profile's cuck, but you must be a shit financial advisor. This is the stupid stuff that people think, right? There's no correlation, but that's not how people are on social media. Okay, so getting the profile right is such a big step, and you'll see even amongst your peers, this will be amazing in terms of taking you to the next level, right? But when you got your profile right and you do all of this, then amazing things happen, right? And so that's how I got into LinkedIn, is I had to build profiles for people. And then as I got into it, I started to realize that there's real power here, right? I mean, LinkedIn had 350,000, million people when I started. Like, it's 4 times that today. That's incredible. But you realize that people are easy to find, right? There's a directory. They tell you who they are. It's all listed. But if you have realized, it's a little bit harder than it looks. Okay, I'm giving you the keys to the kingdom, so you get to unlock it. And so ended up creating this the system, got it to work for myself and then for my clients, and I actually published a book which I will give to all of you at some point. Published a book on how to do exactly what I'm showing you, the entire system, 1 week before lockdown. Remember, Cyril told a little white lie, told us, I'm going to lock you down for 21 days. He forgot to put the words, the longest 21 days in the history of the world. Forgot to say that bit. And the rest is history, we all know. The week before that, I published my book, right? And so initially it was like, oh goodness, there's chaos here. Turns out it wasn't chaos. It was actually very good for me, because everybody suddenly their normal way of working was cut off. And so everybody found LinkedIn. LinkedIn had an amazing surge of people. And because I'd published a book, the book became an international bestseller, literally overnight. I kid you not, one night. That's how long it took. It was just timing, right? Got interviewed on Bruce Whitfield on 702. That got me further exposure. Did a lot of work in the financial services and accounting industry, worked for a lot of firms out there. We would put 10, 20, 40 and more financial advisors into the process. And so we got a lot of really, really good results during that time. Things changed a bit subsequent to COVID, right? And so obviously we've had to adapt. So you get the adapted version, because the old version doesn't work quite as well as it used to. But we'll show you all the current stuff and all the new tricks. But that's my story. So you have a little bit of context in terms of where I'm at. So I think I'm kind of similar to a lot of you, where you were maybe doing something before you're doing this, and a lot of us are professionals, right? Whether it's legal or it's banking or whatever. So still degree people, professionals. The reality is our mindset is like different to everybody else, right? And I'm very cognizant of that, because I struggled a lot with that in the beginning. So this thing where it's, oh, just cold call, or just like go speak to your network, like, yeah, and maybe you have to do it, because like if you don't, you get fired. That doesn't mean you're good at it. That doesn't mean you like it. That's how we are, right? A lot of us as professionals, we would prefer not to make life hard. So that's why this system is created by one professional, particularly for others, although it's now adapted for everybody else. So you will see a lot of the heavy lifting is done actually by your profile. And a lot of times people will approach you, which is what we want. That's in the first phase. The second phase, we got to work a bit harder, but we'll get into that later. I just want to get first 5 steps done, get you working, get stuff happening, getting you some action, and then we'll take it from there. So I told you the story for all sorts of reasons, by the way, not just to introduce you. Right about session 3 or 4, I'll refer back to this. Okay, so that wasn't just for fun. That was actually part of the sessions that I told you, all of that. So that kind of gets us, I think, up to speed, ready to rock and roll. Okay, last chance. Any questions? Okay, let's go. So the first thing we're going to do is I want to talk to you about this idea of picking your niche or defining your ideal client, right? So everyone's a genius. You got to pick a niche. You got to have a client. No one tells you how to do it. It's like, who's your ideal client? I asked you that question. People don't know, right? So I want to give you a little bit of theory. This first bit's about as much theory as you're gonna get, but this is kind of important, because if you don't know, this is a really, really good, just basic introduction to what the hell does all of this mean? Like, what are the pieces? How do we put it together? And practically, we are going to put this together specifically for you in your business over the next while. So the first thing is, I just want to talk to you. I've used the word theory / context, right? Let me give you the context in which we do things. I'll just give you a different way to think about how you go about doing what you're doing. And you'll see that you've done some stupid stuff, right? As you start to realize and you think, oh, okay, that's why that's not working, because I'm kind of being a bit of a dick. I'm doing stupid things. Or, oh, you know what, maybe if I try to change the approach to do this, that's what this will help you to do, is to realize some of the stuff that's good or bad. Then we're going to talk about problems. Okay, now, Gert aside, the rest of you, maybe you guys are starting to shift out of that. But typically what I find with the newer financial advisors is they still tend to think a lot in terms of product, right? I've got a retirement annuity, I'm going to say a retirement annuity, blah, 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 whatever it is. I want to change your whole perspective. So by the time you get out of this, because a product is hard to sell, okay? If, however, you solve a problem, that's easy, okay? So I want to get you away from selling products. In fact, I never even want you to mention a product again to a client until you've had a good chat to them, right? We're going to talk about problems, because problems are the way to get to speak to people. And when somebody gets to your LinkedIn profile, very short attention span, okay? You've probably got, I kid you not, depending which study you believe, I reckon you've got 1 second. 1 second is as long as you've got for somebody to look at your profile and to say, yep, I'm staying or I'm going. Right? You think social stupidity is bad, it's now down to 1 second. So how in 1 second, right, do you capture people's attention enough to say, oh, okay, this actually looks like an interesting profile. Let me read the rest of it. Let me click on it and then get them into our world. Well, we pick on problems, right? Also, a lot of what I'm teaching you is what I call interruption marketing. So it's not like maybe where you're waiting for a referral. We are making the running in this process, right? We are interrupting somebody on during their day. They're sitting on LinkedIn, they went on for whatever reason, and now there's this this DM in the inbox that invites them to connect. Oh, who's this person? Click on it, go check out the profile. Ah, look at some stuff on the profile. Oh, I like this. Let me accept the connection request. Actually, let me start a conversation, right? That's our ideal. But how do we get them there, right? If you don't get them to scroll right up front, it's tough, right? And the way we get them there is by talking about problems that we can solve, right? Again, talk a lot about problems next week. Then the next thing, and that's going to be kind of the star of today's show, is this idea of, I call it the jar of jelly beans, right? It's a bit of an analogy to understand who your ideal client is, okay? When you understand this, this will change so much for you. It's a simple, stupid little metaphor that I've created, but when you get this, you'll never be able to forget it after this, because when next time Chris says to you, who's your ideal client, then you're going to tell him it's a jar of jelly beans, okay? You'll see what I mean. But this, you know, sometimes we buy a new car or we buy a new something or another, and we spent all this time researching it and checking it out, and then all of a sudden we buy it, and now we're driving, and every second person now is driving the same damn car as me, and not only that, it's even the same color, but you didn't see that before, right? Because your mind was not attuned to that. When you understand this and you put yourself in that space, it's going to open up your reticular activating system. That's what they call that thing. That's going to see things that you never saw before, right? It's going to see opportunities that you didn't see, where ideal clients are there and you've just missed them. You will see all of that stuff, and you'll see what I mean as we go through this. Then there's the picking of the niche piece. So we're going to do 3 and 4 today, right? Really, those are the 2 big pieces. And I'll give you a proper definition as to what the hell that really means, and actually how to do that effectively with LinkedIn in mind, okay? With LinkedIn in mind. Then we're going to talk about something a lot deeper. So this is when we talk about these big problems, we take it to the extreme, because a person can have a problem that's not very serious. It's not going to get them to react. Over here, these are the ones that get them to move, right? So we build on what we did over here. We get problems that are big enough for them to book meetings with you because they need a resolution. And then the last bit is looking at LinkedIn specific stuff. So the first 5 are they're generic in a sense that while I'm teaching them to you in the context of LinkedIn, actually they work anywhere. You can take them to your website, you can take them to email, you can take them to Facebook, you can take them to paid ads if that's what you want to do. You won't need any of that stuff, but you can take it anyway, is what I'm saying to you, right? it's a good grounding generally. Then here, this is where we start getting LinkedIn specific. And then from there, the rest of it is LinkedIn specific, but you've got the grounding, right? So this is ideal client. So let's talk a little bit about sales funnel. Okay. You've probably heard this word before a lot. Sales funnel. What is that? Well, the answer is it's a process. It's a process that you take a client through from you don't know them to now they're a client, right? There's a process. We all have a process. Now, it can be a completely online process. Like when, let's say I want to sell my book. I can create an online sales funnel. I can have online ads or even talk to people on LinkedIn. They can click on a link. They go to the book. They buy the book. I get money in my account. The book gets delivered to them automatically. That's an online funnel, right? It's completely online. I don't have to touch anything. It's beautiful. Then you have the opposite, which is probably what a lot of you guys are doing at the moment, right? And that example that we used earlier about getting a referral is a typical example, where that's really an offline funnel. You've got the referral, you're phoning, you're meeting, you're talking to a person. That's all offline, right? And then there's the combination, which is really what the LinkedIn funnel is, right? So I'm going to teach you to use the power of LinkedIn, and then at your earliest convenience, you must take them off LinkedIn, right? And we are off LinkedIn at the moment, right? So off LinkedIn doesn't necessarily mean face-to-face, I shake your hand. It can mean on a Zoom call or a Teams meeting. It really doesn't matter. The point is you found them on LinkedIn and now you've got them off LinkedIn. So our goal is to get people off LinkedIn as soon as possible so that we can talk to them. Now, I don't care what type of funnel you have, right? Just remember, whether it's online, offline, combination, and we're doing a combination, right? It's a process that starts from stranger to client. That's it. And there's some stuff in between. Every funnel in the world has two fundamentals. Cannot work unless you know who your ideal client is. That's today. And then what the biggest problem is. That's next week. We're going to talk about those. And you'll see how these two things work beautifully together. So let's talk about, well, what is an ideal client? So when you start, which is the majority of you, the reality is like you just take anybody, right? It's like, yeah, if you need something, I'm there. I'll take anybody as a client. Don't care who they are, right? But as you get a little bit more experienced, or as you get to choose, which you guys are now creating, why don't you just pick what I call dream clients, right? Which is not anyone with a pulse that's prepared to pay you, right? These are people that are your best fit. And they are your best fit probably because you have the greatest chance of actually being helpful to those people to get what they want, right? And ultimately, they'll buy all your products and services. Now, for a lot of you, they won't buy everything right away, right? Because in your world, you deal with people through different phases of life, and it's a slightly different perspective. But maybe you want to look at the person, and let's say for a lot of you, you're younger, maybe you want to deal with people in your age group. And you look at it and you say, okay, well, those people are going to go through a bunch of stuff. They're going to get married. They're going to have kids. Some of them, unfortunately, will get divorced. Some of them will start a business, right? All of those things. And as they do that, they get closer and closer to the end goal, being retirement, and their needs are going to change, right? And so you think about those things, about where people are at the various stages of life and what the best fit is. But when you look at your ideal client, you want to be able to say to yourself, okay, will I be able to sell these people everything or a lot of my stuff? Because ultimately, guys, we want to make money, okay? You can spend your time dealing with shitty clients, make a little bit of money, or you can deal with the right clients, make great money, and have them for a lifetime, right? That's what this thinking is. So I want you to think about that, because I promise you, it's actually less effort to do this than it is to do the I'll take whoever comes. The other thing you find about ideal clients is they tend to appreciate you, or these dream clients. And you'll know this, right? Because when you ask them for information, it's there. When you ask for a meeting, they have the meeting. When you give them a recommendation, they listen to you and they say, yes, that's cool. They implement what you tell them. Right? Clients that don't appreciate you, they ghost you, they don't take calls, they don't give you the information, they've been rude, right? Those are not the clients you want. Right? You want the ones that appreciate you, because those are not the ones that give you shit about fees. Now, for a lot of you, that's not an issue per se, right? Because you're earning comm. But your world might change. I've been talking about it for a long time, where suddenly you have to be a fee earner. And some of you, maybe not now, but later, you might decide you want to charge fees. You can't charge people fees if you're not giving them good value and they don't appreciate what you're doing, right? So think about this, plan for the future, and try to get clients that appreciate you. This is a big deal. Also, you should enjoy being around your clients. You guys are building lifetime businesses. Yes, that's a hard job if you're going to have a client that where you oaks don't see eye to eye, right? At some point there'll be a fallout. I can tell you without question, all the clients I've dealt with, right? I'm friends with them, more than colleagues, right? Because I generally work on a one-on-one basis. So I do what I'm doing in a group one-on-one. If I'm working with somebody from anywhere from 3 to 18 months, like I get to know them really well, right? And I'm seeing them every week. It's the same with you guys, right? You get to enjoy the people. So I would, my rule, by the way, is if I'm dealing with somebody, I'm trying to judge. I say, would I invite that person home to dinner with my kids? If the answer is no, I don't want them as a client, right? And so there's a very important lesson there, because when you're thinking about this, not only do I want to encourage you who to bring in as clients, but I want you to also discourage the people you don't want to speak to. Because we have all at some point taken on a client, right? And we know at that time that this is a bad idea. We needed the business, so we take the client. But we know this person's going to be hard work, they're going to be difficult, they're rude, whatever, we take it on. I don't want you to be in that situation. I want you to learn from those lessons and be in a situation where you never have to take those clients. And in fact, even if you have a few, once you've got a few that you like, give them to your colleagues. Okay, give them away to somebody else. Let the problems go somewhere. And your ideal clients will remind you why you got into the business in the first place. So let's take this up a step. A lot of you will have given me this answer, and I asked you before. And I say to you, and I get this all the time. I say, so who's your ideal client? Oh, everyone. Right. If the answer starts with anyone or everyone, I know that you're in trouble. Okay, so that might have been your answer yesterday. Tomorrow is going to be different. Okay, it's not really everyone. You want to try to be a lot more specific. And I'm going to give you a crazy example, right? So I knew very early on that I needed to niche. So I said, cool, I'm going to deal with accountants. That's where I started my business. Because I am one, right? So I understand it makes sense for me to deal there. So I started dealing with accountants. And now I decided, okay, I'm going to try Google AdWords. So Google AdWords, you bid on the keyword, right? And then you pay per click. So I put my money down and I put my ads up. Yes, and Google loves me. The clicks are coming and they're taking my money, and I got 0 clients. It's like, what? How is this possible? So now because they took my money, now I'm focused, you see. I only focus when I pay. Now I'm focused. So I go and I look at it and I realize, oh, actually, that's a bit silly because I put the wrong keywords in. So I put the keyword accountant in, right? Because I'm looking for accountants. But if you think about it, right, not all accountants are good clients for me. Because I need accountants that are very specific accountants. Those accountants have to be running their own business, like you guys are, okay? And they have to be responsible for bringing clients into their business. So a trainee accountant is still an accountant. So they click on the ad, right? I'm never going to sell them client acquisition because they don't need it. They don't even know how to do accounts yet. Bookkeepers, same thing. Like they don't care. Even managers at audit firms, their job is not to bring in clients. What about a financial director at a listed company? No, he doesn't care about clients. He's a marketing and sales department for that. He's worried about consolidations and deferred tax, right? So can you see, even though I said accountant and it was my niche, I still had to be a lot more thoughtful about that, right? And you guys must do the same, because otherwise you're gonna end up speaking to a lot of people that you shouldn't. So when we pick the niche, you're gonna be real specific, okay? That's the message I just want you to remember. So remember James's accountant example. Cost him lots of money. Don't want that happening to you, right? This question, who's your ideal client? I will tell you without hesitation, is the most difficult question in all of marketing to answer. right? That's why very few people can do it. And again, I'll say to you, it's a process. Right? Client acquisition is a process. You are learning the process. Right? The difference between this process and you maybe doing a quote for an RA is that when you do a quote for an RA and you put, you know, how old they are and the rate of return and all of the key information into the program, it will spit out the same answer every single time, right? You'll get a predictable result. It comes out. Here, however, it's still a process, but there's a lot more variables. Like now I'm dealing with personalities, you know, I'm dealing with constraints. I'm dealing
James,
with all sorts of strange things. Yeah.
can I quickly ask you, just to, you're very interesting to me, but I haven't been honest with you from the beginning. The thing is, so what I want to continue, but my focus is more of a corporate. I'm not really interested in retailing, in retail business. Okay, so I do pension funds for employers. So there's a huge gap in where these people are struggling. They don't know how to handle pension funds. So I just want to give you just who I am. So I want to continue because I want to follow you. I just want to. So when you speak, just bear in mind, I'm speak to the audience. They are retail, which is fine, but I'm a more a corporate specialist where I give solutions to pension funds. So what you are saying is cool, and I follow it because it might be helping me to identify crucial people within the pension funds, like principal officers or trustees or something like that. So just bear in mind if you go ahead. So now you've got a different understanding of why
Okay, cool. So thanks for that. Doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what you do, but it's good for me to know in context. So
yes,
right
that's
now,
what I'm
like
saying.
if I'm using an example, as you say, just adapt it for yourself. When we get into the weeds, you will do your thing, they will do theirs. But it makes sense. But thanks for that. It's actually quite useful to know what's what. Okay, so but I was just telling you that it's a process, right? I'm teaching you the process. You're going to do it. It's not 100% accurate because of all the variables. You also find that once you identify them, right, after today's session, they're easy to find online, particularly on LinkedIn. You'll be much happier dealing with them, right? So that's the first part, right? It's just like the theory out the way. But there's a lot of interesting stuff there, and hopefully your minds will come back to this a little bit later when you start struggling, and you just go back to the fundamentals, and you'll see there's often something there. The next thing is this: what's the biggest problem, right? So again, you've got to move people to action. Like a lot of time, people will sit even though they want to change, but they don't, because like the pain of changing is bigger than the pain of not changing, even though they're in pain, right? So if we're going to interrupt them, like I explained to you earlier, the best way to do it is to pick big problems, right? The other thing you're going to find is that people respond more to very specific problems, right, than they do to blanket problems, right? So if you say, hey, I'm a financial advisor, if you need help, let me know. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. If you say to somebody, listen, I'm a lawyer. I see you're a lawyer. I know that you probably got some issues. You probably need some income protection. If you need that, I can help you. That's a very different problem. If that lawyer has worked out that that's what they need, they're going to talk to you. It's very easy to make that connection, right? So we're going to talk very more specifically. I'm going to give you an example here. Again, this is one of these things. I just want you to remember this example for later. Because it's going to be really, really valuable to you when it comes time for you to do this. So before COVID, I used to do a lot of networking, right? Like I suppose most of us did. So like BNI and that, but it wasn't BNI, it was a different group. So how it works is you go to the group, and then you every single week, right, there'd be new people. So it starts off where the new guys, they all stand up front, and then they tell them for 30 seconds or 60 seconds, they tell you about themselves, right? So you go through the process, they tell you. I used to sit and listen, because at the end I wanted to see who can I deal with. You know, I'd find a few people that were that I thought I could deal with, and then I would go and I network with them. Right? So imagine that this is the situation. You are the old guy, I'm the new guy. So you guys are sitting there and I get up and I say, hi, I'm James from James's Tax and Accounting. And I just want you to know that my partner and I have been in the industry for a very long time. We've got a lot of experience. We're very good at what we do. We're very reasonably priced. In fact, some people say we're quite inexpensive. You know, we'll get everything done. We're very competent. Like if you need any help, let me know. Right? Now, if I'm in a group situation like this, and I say to you, well, okay, guys, how many of you are speaking to me if I ask you that? Right? I know it's a rhetorical question, and I'll tell you for nothing, the answer is 0, right? Why? Because there's a terrible offer. I was like, yeah, okay. So you're an accountant with some experience. You should be competent at what you do, and you shouldn't rip me off. Yes, right? So it's like, the offer you made. I have an accountant. I've had that for 3 years already. I'm like, no, go away. I don't need to speak to you. Wasted my time. Let's change the facts, right? Let's say that just before you went to the meeting, you got a phone call from SARS. SARS says to you, listen, we're coming next week to do a PAYE audit. We'll see you on Thursday at 10 o'clock, just be ready. Now I stand up and I say, hey, listen, I'm James from James's Tax and Accounting. My partner and I, we specialize in SARS audits. It doesn't matter what the audit is, we're really good at it. Both of us used to work for SARS for over 30 years. We know exactly what questions SARS asks. We know how to answer them. And in fact, last 3 times SARS pulled this stunt where we actually submitted info. SARS actually had to pay our client a refund. So we'll handle everything. You don't even have to speak to them. Don't worry about it. If any of you ever need me, I'm here. Right? How many of you are talking to me now? Right? I'll tell you, all your hands are probably going up. The question isn't even, hey, James, how much does it cost? That's not the question you're asking me. What's the question you're asking me? Hey, when can you come? Right? Because there's a problem, that's a big problem that's eating at you. And in fact, when you've been sitting there listening, you didn't hear the other 19 guys because your mind was already thinking about next week at this stupid SARS audit. And then suddenly somebody talks to you about the problem that can be solved. Now the reticular activating system comes into action and it says, right, that's the thing that I need. Let me listen to this guy, right? And that, my friends, is how you market really, really effectively. Okay, so we're going to do a lot of that when it comes to this. Right, now that's kind of the real basics out the way. Let's talk now, taking this up a level, right? This idea of ideal client. So this is going to form the basis of the first part of your homework. So listen up. Ideal client avatar, right? Here's a definition. It's a horrible definition, but I give it to you anyway. It's a composite fictional character that represents your ideal client, that combines the key characteristics of your best clients. Oh my God, James, what does that mean? But a composite fictional character that represents your ideal client, and the way we get there is combining the key characteristics of your best clients. Let me show you an example. Okay, this will make more sense. So oftentimes when I speak to people, I say to them, and this is like an amazing exercise. I say, like, write down the characteristics of your ideal client, and people struggle to do that, which is quite interesting. So even if I say to you, and let's say in this example, I say, hey, who's your top 8 clients? And you list them. I like these clients, and then I'll ask you another question. I'll say to you, okay, so why are they your best clients? Then you'll have to now you maybe start thinking, right? But when you start to think and you start to analyze it, what's going to happen is here on the left-hand side, you'll start to see different characteristics or traits about these people, and then you'll start to form a little bit of an idea of who are more ideal clients than not. And at the end of it, what you want to do is to find who your ideal clients are, so that you can go and find more like them, right? Because clients, this represents success already. So this is what we want to do, right? So let's just say, for example, your top 8 clients. The first one, because it's a red jelly bean. This is the jar of jelly beans I was telling you. You look at it, and I don't know, maybe 6 of your 8 top clients are female for whatever reason. It's like, wow, that's amazing. Okay, so obviously I resonate more with the female market. So I will put that red jelly bean here in the jar because the majority of my clients fit this characteristics or this trait, right? The next one might be, I don't know, they've all got unit trusts, okay, for argument's sake. It's like, wow, all of them. Okay, well, clearly unit trust is a product I should be selling. Let me put that jelly bean in the jar. Maybe this person here, this one's got like an overseas trust. It's like, okay, well, only one of them has got an overseas trust, so it's not really a big deal. So I won't put the trust thing in the jar. Maybe the next one is they've got kids. Okay, 5 out of 8 have got kids. It shows me that maybe I should be dealing with people with kids. So I'll put that one in the jar. This one over here might be, I don't know, these guys have got retirement annuities, as silly as that might sound. Only 2 of them, right? Because maybe you're dealing with a younger crowd and it's a hard sell. It's like, okay, maybe that's not where I should focus. But this one over here maybe is because this is income protection, because maybe I'm dealing with professionals. Okay, 6 out of 8. Let's put that in the jar. Number 7. Whatever you decide that is, this is an interesting one, right? Because now there's a 50-50 split. So 50%. If you have 50%, put it in the jar, right? Number 8, only 3 out of 8. No, that can't go in the jar. Number 9, no, that's an outlier as well. That can't go in the jar. So we've put this in the jar. So let's go back to our definition. It's a composite fictional character, right? It doesn't exist. We made it up. It's composed of jelly beans. It's fictional, doesn't exist. It's that thing that you see over there. That's what it is. But the important thing about this is it represents our ideal client. And the way that we got there was by combining these key characteristics of each client to get there. Okay. Let me pull this back. I mean, look at all of you. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes, it does.
Let me open the chat here. So just everybody in the chat tell me, yes, that makes sense. Just say yes. 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 Okay. Anybody that's unclear. This one concept changed amazing stuff for you, right? Once you know, because everyone's in. Okay. So let's just take this one step further, right? Now you're thinking about your ideal client, right? The interesting thing about this is I've done this exercise so many times, and I do it in groups, do it with individuals. I say to people, let's pick on accountants because we don't have any here, so we safe, right? So I say to accountants, write down on a piece of paper the key characteristics of your ideal client. Okay. Now, the average number that people write is 6. That's the average. And the first 2, everybody says, so it doesn't count. First one is they must pay my bills. Yeah, okay, we know that. And the second one is that we don't want them to be dishonest or scaly. We want people above board because we're accountants. Okay, tick. So that means actually they can come up with 4 distinct characteristics only of the ideal client. It's really hard to build a business and a marketing system around that. But here's the truth. It's not really true that they only knew 4 things, right? They just didn't know what questions to ask. You are going to know what questions to ask. That's the difference. This is going to take you, and you're going to answer them as well. Not only are you going to ask them, you're going to answer them, right? Because this is what takes you to the next level, and you will have an untold advantage over everybody else when you do this, right? So if I did it differently and I said, look, here's 20 questions about your ideal client, just fill it in. They'd have given me 20 answers. Some of them would have been rubbish, but a lot of them would have been okay, right? So how then do you find the answers? Well, the first thing is you ask your existing clients, okay? You either ask or you might already know. But it's easy to ask people. You just phone up your clients and say, can I ask you a few questions? And you ask them, and they will tell you, right? Also, the system that I'm teaching you, if you're having meetings with people all the time, right, part of what you should be doing is asking questions. They're probably telling you all the stuff that you need to know. So you can either ask them or otherwise, right? You are going to ask questions this process anyway. Just make a note of the results. The other thing you can do is research, okay? Research is very valuable, and you should all do this. In the old days, 2 years ago, the old days, We used that thing called Google. We now have another thing called ChatGPT, which is like Google on steroids, right? Either of those, they actually serve a different purpose, and they're both quite useful. So research lets you find out anything that you need, okay? So let's say that you're going to deal with lawyers. You can type into Google or ChatGPT, right? What keeps lawyers awake at night when it comes to their finances? Okay, very simple question. And you will get amazing answers. You'll get YouTube videos and articles and blog posts, and you'll find stuff in groups and TED Talks and podcasts and books and everything you can imagine. The favorite one, right? Favorite one is the survey. I love surveys, right? People are going to do surveys. People do surveys all the time, even in your niche, whatever it is. I promise you there's a survey. Go find it. And in the survey, they'll give you the answer. Somebody asked 20, 50, 100, 300 people of your niche certain questions. And if you can find the answers, someone's done the research for you. Okay, so just think about that. That's a cool way to go. I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT for some stuff, but a lot of the stuff I want you to do first, not you go to ChatGPT last, right? You do your head first and your own experience. You speak to Chris, you speak to Virgil, you do that stuff first. Then you go into ChatGPT, right? Otherwise, you're going to lose the real learning. And you're gonna miss the stuff that's real, because ChatGPT doesn't always give you good results, by the way, just so you know. It can produce a lot of rubbish, right? You need something that is specific to you, each individual person. Okay, but we know this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create our first attempt, our best attempt at an ideal client. That's our goal here, right? And we're gonna create one for now, just one. Now the good news is you're probably already 70% of the way there. I want to take you from 70% to 80%. But you can't get to 100, right? Because it's fictional, doesn't exist. Right? We know this. We made it up. But the difference between 70 and 80, that 10% is unbelievable. Like that's because of a niche. Right? And you will find that takes your business to completely another level. Right? What you will find is that this is a continuing process. So it doesn't stop, right? I'll tell you why it doesn't stop, because you are all going to grow in your businesses over time. So it's like you start at a level, your clients start at a level. You grow, your clients grow with you. You grow, your clients grow. You grow, your clients grow. Then 5 years later, 3 years later, suddenly a new client comes in down here, like what you used to be used to. But now this doesn't work anymore because you're up here, right? All your systems and everything are now for this new client. What do? You give this one to the new guy, and you build out. So you have to be in a process where you keep adjusting. Okay, very important. And you might need more than one. Okay, so me, I deal with accountants and financial advisors, 2 different groups of people. Okay, you might think that they're very similar, and they are, but they're also very different. Let me tell you how they're different. Accountants are fat and lazy. They get a client. Once they've got a reasonable amount of clients, their clients, they do the same stuff every month. Do the bookkeeping, do the VAT returns, do the PIE, blah, 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 right? People have to pay them every month for the same thing. They get to a point where they're not that excited about new clients. Financial advisors, different animal, right? They have to get commission, so they want to keep replenishing. If I go to the average accountant today and I say to them, listen, I give you 5 new clients, they will hyperventilate. It's like, no, can't. Got to take them on. I've got to speak to the prior accountant. I've got to change the SARS profile. I've got to upload the chart of account. No. I can't. Right? That's how they are, believe it or not. If I say to a financial advisor, he has 5 clients, it's okay, yeah, that's cool, man. When you can have the next 5, right? So the one is a hunter, the one is a gatherer. Imagine I'm now doing a message, and I write a hunter message to the accountants. Hey, get 5 clients this week. Like, I've lost them. They'll think I've lost my mind. No. Right? This is very important. So I have different avatars. I've got one for accountants, one for financial advisors. They're different. When I message them, I only do one group at a time, generally. because the message is different. Okay. This is just something I want you to be aware of. Okay. Everything you do from this day forth, and you will see this now that you're aware of it, comes back to your ideal client. Right? The products and services that you offer, right? You're going to reverse engineer this. So I'm trying to get you away from thinking product and service to thinking solution. But you will see when you're trying to speak about the stuff that you do, and we'll all probably choose 1 or 2 or 3 that we're going to focus on, right? That's kind of a little bit of the focus, I think, what Verge wants us to do with this. So we'll do that, right? You got to think about this. It's like if you're going to post content or do anything about those products and services, speak to the right people to sell those products and services to, right? If you're trying to sell RAs to new graduates, you'll sell it to you, but you're going to be way more successful selling to the 40-somethings who've got married and are now thinking, shit, I haven't looked after the family, right? It's a different mindset. So even your products and services that you offer, think about your ideal client, hit the pain points, right? This whole funnel, this whole thing we're doing is designed around this. If you do content for your website, your blog, you post stuff on LinkedIn, right? Don't post crappy content. Now here's something, okay? Hopefully powers that be at Momentum are not watching this, but I will tell you something. What happens is Momentum has a marketing department and they pay people to write content. And then they say to all of you, yeah, go post this. And you guys think that's a great idea. You know what? There's 10 pieces of content here. I'll just post 2 pieces a week because it's building my brand and my visibility. Yeah, you know what else it's doing? It's teaching people not to open your content, not to engage, right? I get this all the time. Financial advisors tell me, yes, people are not engaging with my stuff. I post all the time, right? You know why they're not engaging? Because of those 10 pieces of content, it might be that maybe only 2 of them were actually relevant to your particular ideal client that you've developed. So you've got an 80% chance of it not being relevant. So they open the first piece because they're excited and it's like, okay, that wasn't for me. They might do it the second time. If they do that a third time, you are dead in the water. Like you have just trained them that you send crappy content and they must never open another email, another blog post, another LinkedIn post, another anything from you again because you just give them stuff that they're not interested in. Right. Whereas if you send them the 2 and they imagine they'd open those 2, it's like, oh, wow, those were actually 2 like really good posts. That helped me a lot. Next time you send something, whether it's an email or you send them a message on LinkedIn or you're doing an event, they're in because they know, this person always sends me useful stuff, right? So think about this, even when you do this basic stuff. Advertising, which I hope you guys will never need, I told you. But again, if I'm advertising, now that I'm a bit wiser, I would talk differently, right? Speak specifically to my avatar. Sales letters. So sales letters I use very loosely. This is anytime you have to convince somebody or persuade or influence, right? Whether it's to book a meeting with you, whether it's to actually accept your proposal, whether it's to download something, doesn't matter what it is, right? Get on an event of yours. When you speak to people, speak to your ideal client. Reference the problems that they have, right? It's all the same, right? Everything I'm teaching you, it applies everywhere, not just on LinkedIn and email marketing, right? You send emails, people check emails, they look at the subject line. If they like the subject line, they click into the email. If they like the email, they'll click and do what you want. If they don't even like the subject line, they won't. And if you've taught them before not to open your stuff, they'll see, oh, it's from this person that sends me shitty stuff. Don't open this email. So everything either works for you or it works against you. So long story short, right, I'm showing you that your ideal client is pivotal to everything. Okay. Last thing, then we're going to take a break. Is how many of you guys watch, just put it in the chat for me. Do you guys watch CSI, those crime scene investigating programs? How many of you seen those? Hopefully you all see them. Okay. Okay, Demetri, it's only you and me, but the rest of them don't dig it. Okay. So they all start the same, right? Okay. Characters now had to reveal himself. Yes, I also watched that shit. That's okay. Don't worry. We all do. What, you know, and we dig it, right? Because it's all the same, right? It starts off and then like somebody's died. Every episode is the same. Somebody's died. And then you have the little private investigators and even they don't know who's done it, right? At this point, they put their little latex gloves on, their little tweezers and their little bags, and now they're going, they're collecting all these clues, right? Well, guess what? We're exactly the same, right? Because as they collect these clues and as the show goes on and they put all the clues together, they get to the point where now they solve the problem. And so I want you to think about your ideal client as being, a crime scene investigator. The clues that we're going to collect are jelly beans. This is what you're looking for, are jelly beans. So now that you understand what you're doing, you might be in your LinkedIn feed and you see a post that comes up where before you would have ignored it. And now you think, oh, hang on a second. That's got to do with my ideal client. Let me have a quick look. And you might only learn one little thing, but that one thing you learn is a jelly bean that you put in your jar, and it moves you forward dramatically in terms of your ideal client. I'll give you my best example and then we'll take a break. So I find, right, when I'm doing this process, sometimes it happens where I meet with somebody and like I know without question in my gut, in my heart, from the first 5 minutes of the conversation, I know that by the time this conversation has ended, this person will sign up as a client. I know they are giving me money at the end of this call. I know this. So this didn't happen very often, but when it happened, I knew. Okay, so now I got frustrated. It's like, well, how do I know? The worst thing about success is not knowing how you got it, right? So I went and I studied it, and then I worked out actually that the common denominator was that all of these people had had coaching before. Because remember, I'm a coach. I coach a lot of one-on-one stuff. Like we're doing group coaching now, but normally it's one-on-one. And so what I found was that these people all had coaching before. Some of them, they would have basic stuff, how to stop smoking or how to play better golf, for example. I keep slicing the ball, and let me stop that. Most of it, to be fair, was probably in the business or personal development space. So as I was going through it, it then dawned on me, well, I don't first have to convince them that coaching is a good thing. I just have to convince them that I'm the best coach for them. Right? So now that I know this, that people who've had coaching before are better prospects for me, right? Now, that's not something that's obvious. You can see this has come from experience because I was paying attention and I'm looking for the jelly bean. But now I can reverse engineer it, right? Now I can start with people, right, that like coaching, and then I can work it back to say, okay, can I find people that are accountants or financial advisors that have had coaching before? Hopefully you guys can see the power of that, right? And it's just a case of, as I told you before, always adjusting your ideal client and just being aware of what comes in. Okay, so we're going to, I'll come back to that when we get back. We're going to leave it there for now. We're going to take a bit of a break. Let's take 10 minutes. So we're on, oh, sorry. Apparently my, hang on one sec. Okay, Mitzi, you're the only one I can see. If you can hear me, just put a thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I had an issue with my speaker there for a sec. Okay, so what we're gonna do is let's take a break. Should we take 10 minutes? Okay, so
Yeah.
it's 1:30, so we'll be back at 2:50. All right. Then we're gonna get into the weeds a little bit. We're gonna get very practical. I'll show you some cool stuff. All right, lekker. We will see you shortly in 10 minutes. All right.
Did you guys do quiet? No addition. Yeah. Hi, sorry. Hello, ma'am. How are you? Sorry, accident. When are they doing quiet?
All right, is everybody back? Cool. Do me a favor in the chat. Just give me an indication of how many clients you currently have in your book. Just give me a number, more or less for each of you. You can share that with me privately, or you can share the group. It doesn't really matter. I just need to get a bit of a sense in terms of where you're at. Okay, cool. Committee, thank you. Okay, Lucas has got a nice space there. Good stuff. That's cool. That we can work with. Bling. That for you. Is that
Hi. No, I need to check. Let me just double check.
Just a thumbs up. I don't need to know exactly. I'm just trying to get a bit of a sense. Gert, with you, are those all what you would consider ideal clients in terms of the funds, or are there some rats and mice in there?
Look, so basically, that was my spin-off business. I had a book where I had about 44 retirement funds. So I sold it. I've only got 3 left, but most of them, my 90 clients came from pension funds. So that's my expertise. So it's a long story, but I've moved on from umbrella funds to freestanding funds as well as a mix. So what I'm interested in is to target the trustees and the principal officers, and then get the people in my franchise to work on the work that needs to be done. It's very complicated. It's very complex, but yeah. So basically, yeah, that's in a nutshell.
Okay, cool. All right, thanks. Okay, this is good. We can all work with this. I'm going to shoot, and I want to show you what about homework. So remember, just going back to this quick. This, right? This is essentially homework. So what I've done, and this might not apply for you, so you may need to just adapt this. But what I've done is I've created a worksheet for you. So if you guys click on this, there's a Google Doc. So you just click on it and then go file and then make a copy, right? And so that you've got it yourself. Then you hang on. Go do the same thing. Sorry, I'm just going to copy this because I want to open it in a different browser to. Let's open it here. So if you open this doc, you'll get this thing, and then what I want you to do is go up here, you go file, and then just make a copy, right? And then you copy and put wherever you want to put it in your own Google account. You're all happy with that? Like you guys can all do that, I think. Okay. So let's talk about what this is. Okay.
Oh, hi, James.
Yeah, how's it?
Oh, it says page not found. I paste the link in Chrome.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it anyone else been having a problem? You wanna put it in the chat?
Yeah, are you gonna put it in the chat and we can copy it from there?
Yeah, just click on it to just open. Just try that. Why the hell? Can you guys access it from the? Oh, all right. Maybe if I press send, it'll. Yeah, fine. You guys got it. Why are you?
No, not yet.
No, I'm being a dumbass.
Hang on.
I'm being a dumbass. Where do I get?
Wait, maybe I would. Maybe I change the. How do I change this? Anyone with anything? Let's try that, shall we? Right. Let's try this again. Hang on. Let's get to group chat. Let's get rid of that. Okay, try that. You winning?
Yes.
Okay. Yay! Let me zoom in here. Okay. So actually, let me zoom out just to start. So here is what I want you guys to do, right? I've done a lot of the thinking for you. You're welcome to add more stuff in here, right? I want you to look at your current clients and think about the context of how do we sell them the risk products? Because that's for most of you, that's what Virgil wants us to do, is to concentrate on getting more of those products sold. He says you guys are relatively comfortable with investment type products, but the risk is a problem. Notwithstanding that, I want you to think about the clients that you've got, right? And when you look at it, you don't need to select all the clients, okay? And you can add to this. I've just got 10 for the template. Like if it's less than this, it can be less. If you need to add 30 clients, add 30 clients. Like the more you do, the better this is going to be for you. What you're wanting to do is to have a look at your current client base and find the clues that you can unlock. Okay, so I want you to take each particular client. So obviously the first thing you'll do is you'll put the client name in, and then let's make this a bit bigger so this is easier to see. Then you've got all of these questions that you want to answer, right? And a lot of these questions are important. The first couple, because this information is easy to find on LinkedIn. We're going to talk about that in the next session. But if you look at this, right, the first thing is think about demographic information. You're wanting to build a profile of the people that make sense for you to speak to. So age, right? How old are they? You know, just for each person, just put the exact age, and then you'll start to see. It's like, okay, I tend to deal with the 20-somethings. I deal with the 40-somethings. I seem to be with the baby boomers. Whatever the heck it is, right? It'll give you an idea. Obviously, gender may or may not be significant. You don't know. Put it down. Location, right? Where are they? This may or may not matter, right? In your world, if you feel that you need to be able to get to a client, then maybe geographic area will matter. But again, this might give you clues. You will be amazed, right? Are they married, single, divorced, widowed? Family status, number of dependents. So dependents can be parents or children, right? Or other even. And do they have children? Okay, so you want to note that. Then you're going to look at professional information. So occupation, what do they do? Just a job title, right? How they describe themselves. In that description, right, what are they? So they're either an entry-level employee, they're a mid-management employee, a senior management employee, or they own their own business. All those things are kind of significant. Just note it down. Income level, right? Note down whatever you think it is. And listen, if you don't know answers to these questions, fine, skip them. Don't like you sleep over it. It's like, but I promise you, the more you answer, the better this is going to be for you. The better result you will get. Okay. Employment status. So do they have a job? They work for themselves, right? Do they own a business, or are they retired? Industry. So I want you to be specific, right? So don't say professional services. Say accountant or lawyer or electrical engineer even. Company size. How many employees do they have in the company? All right. This often very significant. Next thing, financial characteristics. So what are their primary financial goals? As best you know. Retirement planning, wealth, growth, debt reduction, something else. Right? Investment preferences. You may or may not know this one. What's their risk tolerance? Conservative, moderate, aggressive. Probably not the most important question for you guys. Insurance coverage. So what do they buy? What's the priority? Life, disability, health, income protection, whatever. Right? Note that down. What have they used? In other words, what have you sold them already? Investments, insurance, annuities, wills, whatever. Right? Planning. This goes on. Behavioral insights. So engagement level. So this is quite an interesting one. This is now your interaction with the client, right? So how actively do they participate? So like when you have a session, do they ask questions or they just sit there, right? How active are they? Do they give you referrals? Okay, important. Communication preferences. How do they like you to communicate with them? Are they email, phone, video, or must you meet in person? Right? Interesting. Consistency, right? Regularity and adhering to agreed financial plan. So when you tell them, here's the plan, do they do it? Or do they like skip premiums and they come back to you, they don't have meetings? What are they like, right? And referral sources. So in other words, all of these clients, how did they become clients in the first place? Interesting if you look at, okay. Some other common challenges. So what financial problems did you solve for them? So when you got to speak to them and you sold them the product, remember we're trying to get away from product. What was the problem that you solved? Okay. What are the major pain points that they have? So retirement, uncertainty, debt stress, whatever it is. And are there any unique needs, right? Are there specialized services that are required? Now, this one's an interesting one because this doesn't mean that you guys can solve this. But I want you to think about your clients and I want you to think about, have they ever asked you, hey, do you know someone that can help me get leads? Do you know a good lawyer, right? What other issues and problems do they have? And just to sort of finish up here, revenue that you generate from the client. So just, I don't know, just put like a monthly or an annual figure. Because what you'll find is that when you've got all this information, you'll start to see as you start to collate it all, you'll start to see patterns. And the patterns are amazing in terms of what they can produce. And then the last one is what we call psychographics. What are their values and beliefs? What are their personal values? So what, when you speak to them, you'll know whether what they think is important. Like some of them think insurance is a waste of time. Like others are worried because they got a family focus or security, sustainability. Can I afford to retire? All those things, right? What stage of life are they in? So think about this. This is a big driver for you guys. Always is going to be around. Anytime anyone changes stage of life, shit's going to happen. You're going to sell something. Aspirations. What sort of long-term financial goals do they have? And you might find this last one strange, but it can be quite revealing with your clients. What have you learned about them? What do they like to do outside of speaking to you in business, right? So on the weekends, what do they do? Right, what are they passionate about? Are they provincial soccer players, or do they like fishing? Are they chess players? Do they like magic? Do they watch sports? What do they do? All right. So I know this is quite a bit, but hopefully you know your clients well enough to answer these questions. So do the best you can, right? So I want you to if we go back here, let's just get back to 100% here. So if you're looking at this, I was going to say try to do at least 10. I don't want you wasting your time on shitty clients, right? So if you look at your clients and there's a bunch of ones you think, I don't ever want to, reproduce that as a client. Don't put this on here. We don't care about them. Right? They were a mistake. They happen. Let's leave them there. We don't want more of them. I want you to be looking at this, and your criteria when you're judging who you put in here is like, okay, is that an ideal client? Do I want more of them? And what can I learn from them, right? Because this whole process is a process to get you to learn about your ideal client. Now, some of you are going to look at this and you're going to think, I don't really like these clients I have. Or, you know what? It's fine. I've been doing this for 2 years. It's time for me to step up. I want to do something else. Okay. That's what I want you to put in here. This is what you want. So don't even worry about what you put here. Right? But this first lot is looking at the client base. And I mean, it might influence us, and it can be the same. It doesn't matter. But I want you to look at this and say, based on these criteria, if you had to give your wish list, what is your wish list? Okay. And then you just put down what your wish list is here. And let's have a look and see what that is. So this is actual, this is wish list.
Thanks, name.
Okay. Any questions? Let me. Let's pull this back. Come here, man. Any questions on that? How's it?
Oh, for the last column, we say what is your ideal client, what you want.
Yeah. So your wish list. So regardless of what you put here, because a lot of us have got stuff and we look at it and it's like, ish, it's not really. So if I hadn't shown you this and I just given you this and said, what do you want? Who's your ideal client? If you could mold them and you could choose who they are, what does that look like? Right? So this is empirical evidence, this is actual, this is what I actually want. And it'll be interesting to see if they're the same or if they're similar or not. Doesn't matter right now, just do it. Let's see what we got. Okay. So I said you're gonna work hard. There's a lot of information in here. But do it. And I promise you, the more you do this and the more you think about it, the better. So think of this as an exercise in working on your business. This is a legitimate opportunity for you to learn about your business, because I'll be very surprised, maybe if any of the rest of you have done this in any sort of detail, where you've even looked at your client before and said, oh, okay, let me try and see why I've been successful. Okay, so this is just the first piece for us to try to find the clues. Any other questions on that?
Yeah, James. So just to get it right, you're saying that we do it line by line, like demographic information. I put that information of my clients, like their age, gender, and then on the last column, I put what's the ideal age of my ideal client.
What would you like it to be, or
Okay.
maybe or what it is? It might be exactly what you've got here, right? So this is your wish list. This is what it actually looks like. That's what you wish. And if you feel you want to add more than 10, then add more than 10. If you look at it and you say, oh, actually only 8 makes sense, then put 8. Okay.
Just to be clear, it's line by line, right?
Yep. So you're going to give me 28 pieces of information per client. So it's going to take you some time to think this through. Okay. But I promise you, if you do this well, this will make an amazing difference. Especially when I show you what we're going to do with the answers. Okay. Told you you're going to work hard. Now they're thinking, shit, maybe I should have left on the break and not come back. Wait, it's not finished. Okay. Anything else? Are you happy? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Let's move you across. So now I want to talk about picking your niche. All right. So by the way, that first exercise that you're going to do actually answers a lot of this. So that this kind of goes together. So this idea of picking a niche is often very, very misunderstood with people, right? There's a lot of definitions. I'm going to give you a very simple definition as to what it is. That's what it is. Okay. Put this up on your wall and memorize it. It's a group of people with a similar set of characteristics, right, that makes your product or service, and maybe makes you, right, particularly, the ideal offer or the ideal service provider to solve a very big problem for them. Okay. The key bit is it's a group of people with a similar set of characteristics. That's actually what we're trying to do. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to find that group of people that we are going to be the ideal solution for, in a nutshell, right? And what you will find when you identify this group of people, whatever it looks like, and I'm going to give you some clues in a minute as to how to identify them. Typically, because they have a similar set of characteristics, you will find they are the same in a lot of ways, right? So accountants have the same problems. They have the same questions. They have the same objections. They have the same resources. They have the same needs, right? It's all the same. When I'm speaking to accountants or financial advisors, right, and I'm coaching, there's only X amount of things they ask me. I've seen it all before. I've been doing it for so long. It's very easy for me to deal with that group of people, right? If I create a marketing message and it works for one person, because they're similar, it'll work for all of them. That's what you're trying to do here, right? So you're trying to find that group of people with that similar set of characteristics that make you the best solution. Not even the products you sell, right? This is all about you. You as the person, as the financial advisor that's going to look after these people and have a relationship for the next 50 years. That person. Okay. It's a group of people with a similar set of characteristics. So what the hell does that mean? Okay. So there's different ways to do this. So the one I like most is what I call external, right? So external is something that you can see, it's tangible, you can measure it, you can find it. Okay. And in that list that we went through just now, there's quite a lot of this stuff. So the first one that I like is industry. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say to me, yeah, but it doesn't matter what industry I'm in. And the answer to that is that might be true, but you might be surprised. Okay, and I'm going to give you my example in a minute. You'll see what I mean. But industry is great. So remember that, as I said to you a bit earlier, when somebody creates a LinkedIn profile, they've got to fill all this information in, right? So if you have an industry bias, this is a great thing because there's a list. It's very easy to find, right? If I go into LinkedIn and I search financial advisor, there's a list. There's lots of them. It's the easiest thing in the world for me to do, right? There's also job title. So job title is very significant, right? Because people call themselves different things, right? So some people might have a job, others work for themselves, others run a business. Those people are all different, right? So a high net worth individual might call themselves something different. A high net worth individual might call themselves a CEO, a business owner, a founder, a co-founder, an accountant, right? You need to know that, right? This is the learning that you are now going through. This is why we're spending the time for you to focus on a group of people that it makes sense for you to attract, right? But job titles allow you to find people. So most people will say to me, I need them to be able to pay my bill, right? That's the thing you hear more than anything else. Okay, fine. Who's going to be able to afford a premium every single month that is not going to default? All right, that might be your first question. And so maybe there's an entry level salary. Okay, well, who's got that? Okay, well, it can't be anyone with a job. Then you start to work it back, right? So this is how you must think about things, is you look at the actual requirements and things, and then you look at the niche, and you look at the ability that you have to find this information on LinkedIn. Demographics, right? So demographics is stuff like, you know, how old are they? What sort of education do they have? What do they earn? You know, are they running their own business? How long have they been in business? How many staff members do they have? Right? This is just tangible, easy to find demographic information. LinkedIn, particularly Sales Navigator, right? Sales Navigator is much better than LinkedIn. Well, we'll talk about that a bit later. But easy to find this information. So this is external. We can see it. Easy to find, right? We can analyze it. The next thing I need you to think about is internal information. Now, this is you guys individually, all right? In your case, it's as financial advisors. In my case, it's as a marketer, right? Or a coach, even, depending which hat I've got on. So the real thing here is that all of us have got a superpower, right? There is something that we have that our peers do not have that makes us a better fit for that particular niche, that group of people with a specific set of characteristics. What is it? What's your superpower? That's your question now. What's your superpower, right? So what is it that you do better than anybody else? So it might be that you've got connections in a particular industry. It might be that your knowledge is superior to anybody else. It might be that you've got some fancy software. It might be that you have an amazing network of people that you can refer. It might be that you have some other skill which you can bring in addition to what you do. It can actually be anything. And by the way, the fact that you got a great personality, I mean, it can be that, right? But it's not likely to be that. You know, price is not a characteristic. It's not, oh, we've got all the products a person wants. No, that's generic, right? Liberty and Discovery also have all the products people can want. That doesn't count. So you've got to look at something that's specific to you, right? What is the superpower that you have that's going to resonate with this group of people? And if you take this and you bring it together, okay, in the middle here, what you now have is a convergence of two specialities. So you now have a particular sort of external set of characteristics, and then you overlay that on top of your internal strengths. And this piece in the middle, hopefully you're starting to see, starts to give you amazing competitive advantage. Okay. Then you add in the bit we did earlier, where you look at your existing clients. And again, you have the same thing, right? So now anywhere where the circles intersect, boom, 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 right? That is an opportunity for you to select a niche, right? So let's go back to my story. I'm gonna tell you how I went through this, so that hopefully this will help you, because this can be a little bit more challenging than it looks, and I get that, right? So externally, I look at all of this, and if you look at my background, I've had two careers basically. One in the financial space, mostly in the accounting space, and one in the marketing space. Okay, so when I did this exercise, I actually had quite a toss-up, right? Because I had two very distinct groups, and I had to decide between them. So the one group is financial, the other group is I'm going to call them knowledge-based people, right? So the knowledge-based entrepreneurs, these are people like coaches, consultants, speakers, authors, product creators, that sort of thing, right? Now, the interesting thing is that, remember when I told you I spent 10 hours a day, 7 days a week learning online marketing? The reality is that a lot more of my skill set is applicable to the knowledge-based entrepreneurs than to the financial guys. So this was a real toss-up for me. It's like, which one do I choose? Right? And I hate to tell you this, but this took me 2 years to make up my mind. It's going to take you 2 days, not or 2 weeks, right? Not 2 years. It took me 2 years because I didn't really know what I was doing. I knew I had to change it, but I wasn't sure. So when I looked at the financial guys, right, I'd been in the industry forever, 25 years up to that point experience. I've written 2 best-selling books into the space. I've been doing webinars. I know a lot of people in the industry. I do a lot of, I'm well known because of the webinars, which I did a lot for the associations. I've got colleagues all over the world that do similar stuff to me. Long story short, I've got a lot of traction in the financial space, right? And then I look at the other guys where all of those people that I told you, I'm all of them in some capacity, right? So I coach, so I'm a coach. I've written books. I'm an author. I used to speak from the stage before COVID. Now I speak on webinars, right? All of those things, I'm that person, right? Also, when you're more creative, like for me to present this today, I need to know how to present a webinar. I've got to be able to create slides. Like all these things are skill sets that you have to acquire along the way, right? And so a lot more of, to be honest with you, of my skill set could be applied to the knowledge industry than the accountants. But when I weighed it all up at the end of the day, I just had more traction. And so therefore I chose the financial industry, right? And then I narrowed it down even more to specifically accountants and financial advisors. Okay, so that's how we do the first part. Second piece, now it's internal, right? So remember, at the stage that I'm doing this, I'm not looking at myself as an accountant anymore. Now I'm in the marketing space because this is what I'm doing, marketing, coaching, etc. So now I look at the skill set, right? And I can do lots of stuff, as I told you, right? Clearly, I can write books. First book was on sales funnels. So I'm a sales funnel expert. Know about social media, can do content marketing, can build websites, can create graphics, can do presentations, can create videos, can write emails, can set up autoresponders, and the list goes on. I can vomit all over you all day, right? Lots of stuff that I can do. But when I look at it all in perspective and I say, right, this is my superpower, right? And I ask myself the question, what do people ask me for most? Right? And the answer is, how do I get clients? You will be stunned to know that that was the answer. Okay. How do I get clients? So not just how do I get clients, but how do I build a system to consistently get clients, right? And so therefore, that's what happened. Right. So all of those million things that I can do that I spent 2 years, 10 hours a day learning, most of them are parked on a shelf somewhere, right? We use aspects of them, but I don't need to teach you all of them. I just need to help you with some of them. But client generation, that's what people want. And then I look at existing clients, right? And I had all of those people on the list. Now, when I talk about these existing clients, I am not just talking about clients that I had necessarily in the marketing space. I looked at everybody, right, over the years, and I thought about it. And I looked at particularly, obviously, since I moved out of accounting into marketing. So I took all of those clients, regardless of where I was and who I was doing. So whether they were sales funnel clients or whether they were LinkedIn clients, I put them all in, right? And I had all those groups. I had accountants, financial advisors, lawyers. I had magicians even. I had coaches, consultants, product creators, authors, speakers, everything. I had all of them, right? But 80% of them were these guys. In fact, probably more even, right? So like, it's not rocket science. I look at it. Everything in the circuit is telling me that's what I need. And so therefore, in the middle of all of that is now I should become the client generation person that helps financial services, the financial industry, right? That's how I go through that process. So I want you guys to go through a similar process, okay, as you work through this. So I'm going to give you some questions as we do, right? Because it's like I said to you before, people just don't know the questions to answer. So before I do that, let's just talk about this, right? But picking a niche, oftentimes when people say you got to pick a niche, they think, industry. Not necessarily, right? Some of you might legitimately say industry is not important, and it might not be, okay? But what I will say to you, in fact, before I go here, let me just get back to something I wanted to just say over here that I didn't put in. What I will say to you over here with external, the most important thing, and almost if you take nothing else out of today, you take one thing away from today, this is what you must take away. When you're considering the niche, right, particularly external, the best niche that you can have is a niche that you know well. And if you were involved in that niche before, that's a really good place to start, right? It's not an accident I'm in the financial niche. I had a career that spanned 25 years in this space. Let me tell you one more little story about myself. When I'd started working out, I'd started articles already. I decided I wanted to learn magic, right? As in the tricks. So I found myself a magic teacher, and I spent 6 months with this, and then he dies, unfortunately. And my greatest regret in life is that I decided, no, I need to start my career, and I didn't go on with magic because took some time, right? But at the time when I was involved, like I got so engrossed in it. Like I had books on it. I had videos. I knew how all the tricks were done. I had magicians who were mates of mine. I went to all the conferences. I knew all the lingo, right? I could have actually done this whole business model for magicians, right? As it happens, I chose accountants and financial advisors. But I could have chosen magicians or authors or speakers or coaches, right? And all of those would have been a good fit because I had previous experience in the space, okay? Do you have previous experience in this space? Right. So coming back to this, talking about industry, right? The point being that a lot of you might say, but industry doesn't matter. And the answer might be yes, it doesn't. But I will challenge all of you to challenge yourself, right? When you look at it and to say, well, okay, fair enough, but isn't there maybe an industry bias where I've got a competitive advantage? And if any of you did anything before, like if you were a lawyer before, or you worked at the bank before, right? Or you worked at pension funds before, there's already something for you to work with. I want you to think about that. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. That doesn't mean that has to be exclusively what you do, but if you already have knowledge there, it's very easy to work with them. You understand that group of people. You will know how they tick. You will know which products they have. You will know what sort of level of cover employers give people, if indeed any. You will know the type of needs that they have, etc., etc. You will know all that stuff. Very easy for you to speak to them, right? When I speak to another accountant, right, it's very easy because they know me as an accountant. They know I understand the lingo, and we just talk and we get going. Last year, I dealt with an attorney. He found me something, phones me up, says, listen, can you help me with LinkedIn? So guess what? The answer is, yeah, sure, right? Because same system. But I didn't go looking for him. He found me, right? This is the difference. Very important that you understand. So now I'm working with a guy. I had to work twice as hard to work with this guy because I first had to learn his industry myself while he's learning it, right? Because I got to ask him a million questions. And only then can I hit my stride, okay? He's still going to get the same result he did. Same result as everybody else, just took longer, right? And it took longer because I was out of my comfort zone and I didn't know what was going on. When I talk to you guys, I understand everything. We hit the ground running. We're on the same level from the beginning. It's a lot quicker. It will be the same for you and your clients. So if you specialize, right, I promise you life gets easier, not just in client acquisition, but actually in management of those clients. Also, guess what? Guess who financial advisors connect with on LinkedIn? You will be surprised to know other financial advisors. So when it comes to the referral game, right, and you are asking your clients for referrals, guess who they're connected to? Yeah, other people just like them. You know that group of people with the same set of characteristics? Well, they will give you more of those people. You understand how this, it all works congruently, right? So do not throw industry out with the bathwater. Just think about it before you tell me blindly, industry doesn't matter. So example, right, accountant, financial advisor, pharmaceutical. Job titles, pick your poison, whatever works for you. So obviously you could go with the chief executive officer, the CXO type stuff. There might be managers, there might be reps, owners, partners, directors, founders, whatever works for you, right? Very easy to find on LinkedIn. And then of course you can stack it, right? So demographics, so here's an example. I can find business owners that have been in operation for 10 years or more with 51, 200 employees who are aged between 30 and 55 within a 50-kilometer radius of my office. And if I want to, I can find people who are in fact chief executive officers as well, and maybe they happen to be accountants. So you can see the more this you can stack, the better. So the more you know about your client or your ideal client, the better this is for you. Okay? This is something that you will build for years to come. You're going to do the best you can now, and you will be in a really good space. And as you learn, you add more to it, right? So that's all about picking a niche. So how do we do this? Okay. this is going to be the basis of the homework now, and this is the piece we're going to finish up today with. So the first is let's look at industry. So you'll see that there's two quadrants here. So the first is how do we choose the niche, and the second one is it's kind of the fundamentals. We just double check once we've chosen it whether it works, right? The most important one by far is the first one. So we start with industry. So your first question is, do you have numerous clients in a specific industry? Now, part one of the homework will tell you that, right? You'll also know that. And here's the thing: for most of us, as financial advisors, business grows organically. So it's like, yeah, I get one of these, two of these, one of those, two of these, right? So it's very likely that that's what your client base looks like. But if you've got two or more, or three or more, particularly of a particular type of client, if you've got 3 attorneys, you are an expert at financial advice to attorneys, whether you think so or not. I'm telling you, you are. And if you don't think you are, you will be very shortly. Why? Because they've got the same problems, same issues. They want the same products. By the time you've spoken to 3, 6, 7 of them, like, there's no question you can't answer, right? So do you have numerous clients in an industry? Because if you do, it might be an indication that you should specialize there. Next question is prior industry experience, right? That one to me is almost the most important one, right? So again, whether it's where you're working now at company or in the same field, whether it's somewhere where you were before, right? Or whether it's a hobby or an extramural activity, doesn't matter. Yeah. What prior experience do you have? Are there logical industries to target? So this, you have to all look at yourselves. There might be something that you look at because you've got a particular skill set or you know someone or whatever that makes sense, right? In COVID, I was coaching a bookkeeper. She'd built up a whole product, right, to sell to restaurants. COVID came, that industry disappeared. So now we had to say, okay, well, what are we going to do now? Pivot. Okay, well, which industry is going to be around for the duration of COVID? Oh, it has to be something online. Okay, so how about creative agencies? Okay, cool. We'll deal with creative agencies, right? So that was a logical industry to target. And then the last one is, if all else fails, right? Hopefully you come right in 1 or 2, then you can stop. But if all else fails, then like if you really don't know, then just, well, what do you like? Just pick that. Because it's easier to deal with people that you know and like and understand than people that you don't. So that prior experience. Right. So that's industry. Let's talk about niche. Right. So niche, remember, this is internal specialization. So what specialized skills do you personally have as it relates to the financial services industry? Okay. What specialist skills do you have outside of this? Again, like, so what a lot of financial advisors do is they add coaching, financial coaching to their business. And it's, sometimes it's just basic stuff like mindset. People need some mindset adjustment. Or sometimes it's, okay, you don't have a budget, let's show you how to create a budget, right? If you have those sorts of skills, you can bring them to the table, right? Are there specialist topics that you can consult or lecture on? So do you have a particular skill set? Again, if you do, you'll know that group of people particularly well. And sometimes you can use that skill set to help you to deliver your product or service. So when I was an accountant, right, I loved property investing. Had a few properties myself, little 2-bedroom units. So I learned all about how to deal with the tax, right? Because it's all about return on investment for investors. Tax is a big determinant of that return. I became an expert. I studied courses. I did everything. In fact, I even created my own course. Ended up going around the country for SAIT, lecturing my peers on how to do this stuff. Guess what happened? Whenever they had a problem, this is my direct competition, eh? When they had a problem that they couldn't solve, complex problem in property, guess who they phoned? Me. So they referred clients to me, my competitors, because I had such specialist skills. Okay, so think about that stuff if you've got. Okay, and the last one, regular client requests. If clients keep asking you for something, you need to find a way to give it to them. And if you can't do it, you must find somebody who can. Because when people ask you for stuff, hey, but then what's really cool about that is that it shows you that you don't have to say that the demand is there. This course you're going through now, people ask for this. I didn't just decide when I'm going to do it. I used to build sales funnels, remember? I wrote a book on it. But here I am, because that's what my clients want. Okay, so you want to find your superpower. Right? That's the basic thing here. Then we're going to talk, okay, we've already spoken about this, right? Existing clients. You're going to do that whole analysis. That was part one of the homework. There you go. And then the last one here is just personal attributes. Do you have a passion for something, right? So if you didn't have to work and earn money, what would you do for free? That might be a good niche. Just saying. Okay. Nothing beats passion anyway. Not even hard work. And maybe what other hobbies or extramural activities, what do you do outside of this, you know, outside of work? So again, like, you know, have you played sport at a high level? You know, do you like horses? It can be anything, right? Have a look at that and just see. It could give you a bit of an indication, right? So that's the first part. This next bit is quite quick, and we'll probably end up doing this together. But the first question is, do they have a problem with solving? Well, if you have clients, yes, they do. And you know this. More importantly, right, what you're trying to do is you actually want to find people that are currently exploring solutions. And you need to try to find people where it's urgent, because they've got to solve the problem now, right? So is there a strong reason for them to solve it? That's what you want to think about. Is the niche profitable? Well, yeah. Can they afford your fees? Right? You really don't want clawbacks and other silly things. So you got to have guys with money, and then are there recurring charges as well? Sometimes, depends on what you sell, but the answer is yes. Okay. Are they easy to find? So this one is something we'll just double check on LinkedIn. I would be amazed if any of you chose something that wasn't easy to find. But it does happen occasionally. We just make sure, right? So before we go and build everything and spend all our time chasing the wrong thing, we just have a quick check, which we'll do. And then this one is blank. What's the competition like? I don't care. I don't care what the competition is like. I just want to know it's there. Because if it's there, it shows that there is need in the marketplace, right? But by the time you guys are finished, you will be in a category of one, because you will be the only person, you will be the most ideal for the group of people that you're dealing with. Right? That's our job, is to make you that. So any questions on that? Let's pull this back and see. Any questions on that? Okay. So we seem to have lost a few. Okay, so part two, I'm probably going to go through the same process. Oops, sorry. I'm trying to copy and paste. Clearly, right, so let's pop this back in the chat. Okay. Let me know if you all got it. Okay. Anybody not got it? Got it. Thanks, Gert. Okay, cool. So here's how we run through this, right? So there's a couple of pieces to this. So first, I want you to just look at your prior experience. I actually want you to think about this. So again, list your last 5 jobs. And again, just try to fill out all the information. So job description. So what did you call yourself? I'd say in this example, an accountant. When were you there? 2001, June to 2004. Don't worry about this. Like, you don't have to go back and get your CV. No, that's not the point. The point is just to pull the information. Just like I think I was there for 6 years between here and here. It's fine. No problem, right? I'm trying to just get you to think in chronological order from where you are now. Think back. And if you don't have 5, then fill in what you have, right? So what industry did you work in? Again, this you can probably see by now where all of this is going. Note down your industry. And then just a very brief job description of what you did. Okay. So like in this case, accountant, that was the time I was there. So I was in I was actually an audit partner. So an audit partner in charge of staff and signing off client accounts and tax return. Okay, simple. Okay. That's prior experience. Then let's look at some industry related questions. So what industries have you worked in, studied in, or have personal connections to? Okay. So again, we're just trying to find where we've got traction. Okay. Hopefully this is all making sense. Are there industries where you've already got a professional network or credibility? Okay. So if you were a lawyer before, you've probably got a legal network or a network of people at the bank. You know, it might be a sports network. It might be some weird WhatsApp group you're on because you're interested in, I don't know, underwater basket weaving. Doesn't matter. Right. If there's anything there, particularly professional networks, maybe you're a member of BNI, I don't know, whatever it is, just put it down. Okay. Which industry do you have 2 or more clients in? We've kind of spoken about that. Yeah, you'll think about it and pop it down. What industries are logical for you to target? Okay, so you'll answer that. And then what industries interest you for any reason? Okay, doesn't matter for what reason, mostly because you're interested in it, but whatever it is, because you have a passion, you'll generally pop that down. Okay, that's industry unrelated. Then internal industry related questions. So this is now you, what's your superpower, right? So what specialist skills do you have within your industry? You may not have any, but hopefully you do, right? You might be particularly good at something or have a real interest in something. Okay, what's your strongest skill or area of expertise as a financial advisor? What do you think? Right? What makes you the best in the world to deal with that group of people with a similar set of characteristics that think you are the bee's knees, where you're going to beat out any other competitors? Right? What competitive advantage do you have, right? What do you do better, cheaper, quicker, faster, more efficiently than your competitors? AKA your superpower. All right. And then what specialist skills have you got outside of your industry? Let's see if any of this can make sense. And then the last one here, just some personal attributes, right? So what would you do for free if you didn't have to work to earn an income? What hobbies do you have, right? In other words, that which you do when you are not working. And is there anything that you've truly excelled at? Right? For example, you got a pilot's license or you're a provincial rugby player or something like that. Okay. A lot of really interesting information. Hopefully, as I'm going through this, you're starting to sort of see, based on what I've taught you today, where this actually becomes valuable. And it's not just some, inane worksheet to fill in. So that's homework for today. It's these 2, right? So you're going to do the big daddy over here, which will take you a bit of time. And give this some thought, right? This, interesting. This one's not quite as challenging, but hopefully you'll start to see the patterns, right? So the first question I'm going to ask all of you next week, or in fact, I'm going to ask you this on Tuesday probably when we do Q&A. Hopefully you can do it by then. But if not, certainly by next Thursday. What we're going to do is I'm going to say to you, so what jumped out at you? Of these 2 worksheets that you did, what jumped out at you, either about yourself or about your ideal clients that you hadn't really realized before, that was like, oh, okay, that's a bit of an aha moment, I should do that. Okay. Right, you'll be pleased to know I'm now finished. I think I'm finished. If you need more details, they're there. You guys can all call. WhatsApp is best, by the way. Because like now, if somebody else is calling me, I'm not answering, I'm talking to you. When I've got a gap, then I speak to other people. I always get back to you, so I might not be able to get to you right now. That's the email I check most, and that's the WhatsApp. So if your phone and I'm busy, I won't answer. So if you WhatsApp me and send me a message, even if I'm busy, I'll get back to you later. Okay, let's see. In fact, we can. Perhaps what I should do quickly. 1 second. Shit. Let me
Hey,
go back
James?
here. Yeah.
Yeah, these are the link for the Word document. We can download it. I'm not sure of the other colleagues, but I can't edit on it.
So you have to save it first. You go file and then save copy. Then you can edit it.
Okay.
Let me just do this quick. Hang on. I'm just going to update these links quick. 1 second. This was link number 1. Public link, copy link. Looks like the same link. It should be accessible now because I changed the. Hang on, let me just make sure. Copy link. Okay, this should actually be fine. So even though you technically couldn't access them earlier, now that I've changed the accessibility, you can. So they should work for everybody. So you just got to click on it as you see there. Click file, make a copy, and then you can edit the copy. All right, cool. All right. Any other questions? Okay, so how'd you guys find this today?
It was informative.
Right. We'll see when you do the
that's
exercise.
interesting.
When you do the exercise, that's when it really starts to come alive for you.
It doesn't seem like they're going to be difficult. It's just that we can spend time on, but doesn't seem like difficult.
This is the best time you'll spend in your business all year. This and the next few sessions as we put it all together. I'll show you what we do with this. It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Gert, you might be a little different, so you might have to tweak things a little bit on exercise 1, but exercise 2 should be fine for you.
I'll play around with it. Sorry, I'm just changing something. I'll play around with it, and I think I'll design. I think the concept is fine, but I'll just design my own stuff. Because I think while you were talking, I was thinking about a couple of things.
Cool. That's really what it's designed to do. Listen, you've been around the block enough, right? You all you've got to do is pull it out of your head. You've got it.
No, you always, I always willing to learn.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is because of your experience, you've got so much more to draw on than the youngsters have, which is great. And so, like you were saying, you have that ability to see the concept and say, okay, that doesn't quite work for me, but that's how I've got to adapt it. As we get in, it gets a bit easier. It's just this first bit is
correct.
I decided to tailor it for the audience for today.
No, I get you.
Sorry. Okay. No, that's cool.
I'm happy.
All right.
I just have to double check it. All your Excel spreadsheets and stuff open. I tried to save it, but I'll figure it out. See what it is.
So you'll see in the notes, right? When you get there, just below it, there's a little image. So when you open it, then you got to go file, and then you're going to make a copy, which will put it into your own drive, and then when you can edit the copy.
I've opened it, but now I can't save the bloody stuff. That's my.
You got to
save the one.
So go file.
No,
you have to make a copy before you can save it. You go
file
and then click make a copy.
Copy, yeah.
Right, then you can save it. It will open your own Google Drive. You call it something, and then you save it.
Okay.
I would just bookmark it. By the way, it's the easiest way to
I'll
find
figure
it.
it out.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, cool.
Very cool.
Kata, how about you?
Thank you very much.
Lekker, man.
With me, I only get an option to download, so I can go on file I only get an option that says download. It doesn't say save or save a copy or anything. Just say download. So I thought maybe let me try and copy.
So go.
Mhm.
You should be able to make a copy. You go file and then one of the options above it. So download's a bit lower. You should have it. If not, just download it and fill it in. Because download as an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document.
Yeah, I think I'll do that because everything else on that option under file, when I go to file, everything else is grayed out. It only gives me the option to download. Like I can see, make a
Really?
copy, yeah, but I don't know if I can share my screen.
Yeah, share
Quickly for
screen.
you.
Let's see. Hang on, let me just give you permission. Yeah, share quick. Let's see.
Is it? Are you seeing something?
Not yet.
Okay. Now I've said. Oh, that's it.
So a big green button. Share screen.
Yeah.
It's coming. Yeah. Okay. So if you click file.
So when I go to file, everything else it's grayed out. It's only download. So I went and said Microsoft Word, and nothing is happening. So I don't know. But with the other
Wait.
one,
Let me copy this. Hang on. Let me copy this link. Let's try this 1 second. I'll just copy this into the chat and then just see if that helps. Where is this thing? Chat. Okay, so I'm going to put this into the chat. That's for everybody. Okay, just go into the Zoom chat and just click on that link and see if it opens. And if you have the same problem. It was very weird. Does anyone else have this problem? No. Try again.
Yeah.
What?
I'm not really It's fine. I don't know if it's because of it's a work PC. I'll use my personal laptop when I get home.
Yeah, this is weird. I have no idea why this is. Go to download. Yeah, I'll just download as a Word doc for now. Okay, I don't know why. It's weird.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Because it say when I go there, request edited access, it says you can only view this document. You must be logged in Google. So I don't know if I should log in, sign in here first. But I'll
Oh, yes, you should sign in there first. That's fine. That's exactly why. Yeah, okay. Yeah, when you
All
sign
right,
in, you'll be able to access it. Okay, cool.
All right, thanks.
All right. Tabi Singh, how'd you find that? Any questions?
The session was very informative and interesting. So far there's no questions. And looking at the piece of work that you've given us, I now know where my dream clients are, not ideal, but dream clients, where I should now start looking. Yes.
Good.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Cool. All right. So we'll see you guys on Tuesday was it 4 o'clock? I think. 4 o'clock on Tuesday.
Just remember, I wasn't invited initially. Just remember to send me a.
Oh, okay. Put your email into chat quickly. I'll do it right now.
Okay.
This could be a bit crazy. So first thing, I'm going to put you. Let's put you here today. What's your email address? Ah, there we go. Okay. Let's just grab that. Okay, so we do firstly the workshops. It's a dot, not a comma. Okay, this in future events. Okay, send that. And we will go to Tuesday. Okay, hopefully you should get the emails now with confirmation. You can just save it onto your calendar. It should be good. All right, cool. All right, folks. I know there was a long session, but the first one is obviously a bit of introductory stuff. Obviously from next week we'll just get on with it. So I hope to make it a bit less than 3 hours. We'll cover a lot of the feedback, if you like, in the Q&As. Then what you'll find is as we get deeper into this and you actually start doing stuff, that's when the real practical questions happen, and it gets quite a lot more interactive. Because right now this first session is like I'm just giving you stuff. But yeah, put in a good effort for this. I'll show you some amazing stuff with the answers next week. Right. See you folks on Tuesday. All right. Thank you, everybody. All right. Keep well.
Thank you.
See you then.
Bye.
Cheers.